Hey guys, we are going to start Bible. And so before we start Bible, I want to tell you that it's going to look a little bit different this week. I have given you some videos to watch, and on those videos, it tells the Bible story that Miss Penny would normally tell you. I thought I would change it up a little bit. But the two stories that we're going to talk about are Jesus getting baptized, and also when Jesus gets tempted in the desert. So I want you to watch those videos, and I want you to it's just a cute way to kind of tell the story, but I do want you to think about it, and I want you to think about the importance of what happens and think about what it means, okay? And then you're going to also practice your memory verse. Your memory verse is John 6:38 this week, and it is Jesus talking in this memory verse, and it says, "For I have come down from heaven, not to do my will, but to do the will of him who sent me." And Jesus is talking about he came down not to do his will, but to do the will of him who sent me. And who sent Jesus down here? God, right? God the Father did. And so we are, when Jesus gets baptized, the importance of that and what that means is that God wanted him to do that because that was an example for us that we should follow in baptism when we make a decision to belong to Christ, okay? And then also when Jesus gets tempted in the desert, also he faced it with God's word, and he faced it with God's help, and that's how we should handle temptation as well. So there's lots of lessons that you're going to learn about this week, and then you're going to finish the week with the Easter story. And since next Sunday is Easter, I definitely wanted you that to be our focus for our Bible lesson that day. But on Wednesday, actually, I'm not going to give you a Bible lesson. What I'm going to do is allow you to watch Miss Carmen's Worship Wednesday video that she sends out, and it's all about Easter too. So you're going to do that for your Bible lesson on Wednesday, and I'll make sure to put that in the email that I send out to your parents on Mondays. Okay? So I look forward to doing Bible a little differently this week, and I hope that you enjoy it. When Jesus is baptized, we see that in Matthew 3 and then also in John 1. That's where the story takes place in the Bible. And when you watch that video of Jesus getting baptized, what did you think about it? Was it kind of cool? It was kind of funny to see John the Baptist, huh? He looked kind of silly, but he also looked very different than most people did in that time. And the importance that John didn't want to baptize Jesus because he thought, I'm not worthy enough to baptize Jesus. But Jesus and God thought that he was, and so that he did. So whenever you are thinking about baptism and thinking about Jesus being baptized, I want you to think about, what does baptism symbolize? What does that mean? Why do we get baptized? And a lot of you have already made the decision in your heart to follow after Jesus and to give your life to that mission. And when we do that, the thing that we do once we make a decision in our heart is that we follow that through with baptism. And that's why it's important. And it's also a way that we show everyone else, hey, look what happened to me on the inside. Look what happened in my heart. And that is why that is the importance of baptism. And it's to show our obedience to God and to do what he's asked us to do. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll check you out tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow for Bible. Make sure to practice your memory verse, John 6:38. Hey guys, this week we're going to do something a little bit different for phonics. We're not going to do our normal phonics lesson with our worksheets. You're actually going to practice your writing skills, and you are going to be writing a friendly letter to someone in our class, okay? And so you are going to have the whole week, Monday through Thursday, to work on this, and you have the chance to mail it if you would like, okay, and if your parent gives you permission. So I have written a sample letter up here just to review because we haven't done it in a little while, and so I just want to go through the parts of a letter. So remember, we learned a song. Do you remember our song about how there were how many parts of a letter? There are 5. So let's sing our song. You ready? There are 5 parts of a letter. They're easy to remember. Heading, greeting, body, closing, signature. Parts of a letter. 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 Okay, so let's go through our letter right here. I have written a letter to Mrs. Richard, okay? Because she's my friend, and so I wrote a letter to her. And so we start with our heading. Remember, when we write a letter, we start with our heading. And our heading in this case is just going to be the date. So you would put the date that you write the letter. Then, and you put it on the right side of your paper. And then you're going to start with your greeting. Your greeting is kind of like your hello to your friend. So we're going to start our greeting with dear. And I put dear Mrs. Richard. You can put dear Piper, dear Isaac, whoever you're writing to. Remember, when you do your greeting, you're going to follow that with a comma, okay? And then you're going to move to the body of your letter. Remember, the body of your letter is your message. So if we're looking at our letter, when we start our body, we're going to make sure that we indent. Remember, we scoot that first sentence over and we start at about a finger space from the edge of our margin. So if we look at the body of this letter, it says, hello, I hope you are doing well. I have been having fun at home with my family. Have you done anything fun? We did a bear hunt in our neighborhood. I miss seeing you at school, okay? So my body of my letter had at least 4 sentences, and I also asked a question in there because maybe Miss Richard might write me back, and if she writes me back, then she might answer the question that I ask her, okay? And so here's our body. We ended it. It was about one topic, about what we've been doing over break, and then we have our closing. Remember, our closing is kind of like our goodbye, all right? And so the way we do our closing is we say, your friend, okay, that's a good one. You could say love, or you could say your friend, or your classmate, okay? Your friend. And remember, when you do your closing, you only capitalize the first word in your closing. You don't capitalize both of the words, only the first word. Your friend, and you're going to follow it with a comma, and then our last part is our signature, and that's where you're going to write your name, all right? So I'm going to point to a part of the letter, and I want you to tell me what the name of that letter part is. So here we go. This is what is that? The heading. Very good. What is this right here? Our greeting, and we always follow our greeting with a comma. This part, our message, is called the what? The body. And your closing is kind of like your goodbye, and we follow it with a comma, and then our signature where we write our name. So this week, you're going to get a chance to write your letter. You can do it all week. You can do it in one day. You can take several days to do it, but I've given you some topics that you can write about in your lesson plans that your parents get every week in their email. And so you can look at those topics. Some of them are tell about something fun you've done while you've been at home. Tell about what Easter means to you, because Easter's coming next week. Tell about your favorite Bible story that we've studied since we've been home. Tell about your pet, okay? Tell them about your favorite memory of 2nd grade, okay? About your favorite memory of 2nd grade. So there are lots of options that you can write about in your letter. Now, if you mail your letter, which is fine, I hope you do, I want you to take a picture of it, or get your parent to take a picture of it before you mail it, and they're going to send me that picture so I can check your letter and make sure that it has all of the parts. Okay? I think you're going to do great, and I think this is going to be a really fun way to review our writing and also to have a little fun since we're all stuck at home with our friends. Okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Hello, we are here for math, and it is Monday. It is Monday, April 6th, and so we want to look at math today. So I want you to get out 2 math pages. We're gonna just combine a couple of lessons, and you're only going to do one side of the paper. You're only going to do the front, and we're going to go through it together. You're not going to do the back of those papers. So you're going to grab these papers, page 283 and page 285. Okay, so press pause, go grab those papers, and have them ready to go. Okay, we're going to do a lesson today, and then we're going to actually what would be tomorrow's lesson, it's just a review, so that's why we're going to combine those two. Okay, so I'm looking at page 283. Last week we talked a lot about rounding, and when we round a number, to the nearest 10, we're looking at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And we know that when we round a number to the nearest 10, that number is always going to end in a 0, okay? So if I had the number 15, I would look at the 1 and the 5. I would look at the 5, okay? And remember, our little thing like chutes and ladders, okay? So if it's 5 through 9, right? We go up, and 1 through 4, we go down. So if I'm looking at 15, I know that it ends in a 5, so I'm going to round up to the nearest 10, which would be 20. It's closer to 20 than it would be to 10. All right, so looking at page 283, we're going to look at that together. You have to estimate each sum. So what you have to do, they don't want you to just solve it, 68 plus 32. They don't want you to solve that. They want you to round it first and then solve it. So we're going to round our add-in. So if we're looking at 68 rounds to, you remember, we look it up, we look at the 1. Okay, so it ends in an 8, so that means I'm going to go up. So 68 would round to what? 70. 32, would it round to down to 30 or up to 40? Well, it's a 2, so it's going to go round down to 30. So instead of 68 plus 32, I now have 70 plus 30. What is 70 plus 30? Well, if you know 7 plus 3, then you should know 7 plus 30. But we can still add it. 0 plus 0 is 0. 7 plus 3 is 10. And 70 plus 30 is 100. Okay? You're going to do that on number 1, on part A, B, C, and D. Okay? So press pause on the video, and I want you to go ahead and complete number 1 for me. All right, so we're back for number 2. Let's look at number 2 together. I'm going to read it, and we're going to interpret what the story problem says, and then we're going to try to solve it. So let's look. Grandpa took 19 pictures of moose, but he didn't like any of them except the last one. How many pictures did he not like? And then it's going to give you the next step. So let's figure out the first part first. Let's look back at our story and find our important information. Grandpa took 19 pictures of moose. I feel like 19 pictures is pretty important. Can you circle 19? But he didn't like any of them except the last one. So except one. He only liked one out of all those pictures. Out of 19, he only liked one. So how many did he not like? Well, we can think in our head, we can say, well, he had 19, he only liked one. So what was the difference? So we're going to subtract. So 19 minus 1 equals what? 18. 18 he did not like. He only liked one. All right. Then it asks you on the second part, round 19 to the nearest 10. Round 19. Yes, I'm sorry. Round 19 to the nearest 10. So out of the 19 pictures he took, is it closer to 10 or is it closer to 20? Definitely closer to 20. Okay, look at number 3. Now, they've given you some multiplication facts. Now, if we're looking at our multiplication facts, we know that when we multiply two numbers, those numbers are called factors, and the answer that they are is the product. So they've given you one factor in the product. You've got to figure out the missing factor, okay? So you're gonna have to think to yourself, so let's look at the first one. 6 times blank equals 30. What do I know times 6 equals 30? What combination do you know? You know that 6 times 5 equals 30. All right, look at the next one. Blank times 10 equals 80. What times 10 gives you 80? That's easy, 8. Look at the next one. Blank times 1 is 10. Remember, we have that rule. Any number times 1 is always that number. So what is it? It's 10. Very good. I want you to finish out number 3. Okay, finish out number 3. And then we're going to move on to number 4. So press pause, finish number 3, and get back with us for number 4. All right, so we're back for number 4. So we're going to review our subtraction across zeros. So let's do this one together. Number 4, it says 7,003 minus 2,413. Okay, remember, when we subtract, what do you have to do? Start on the right side, do it, right? So 3 minus 3, do I have to borrow? No, 3 minus 3 is 0. Now, I go here, 0 minus 1, can't do it, more on the floor, so I've got to go borrow. This neighbor doesn't have any, so I got to go borrow from this neighbor. So let's go borrow 1, so that becomes a 6, which makes this a what? 10. Now, can I borrow now from that neighbor? Yes, because he has 10 instead of 0. So 10 now becomes 9 because I'm borrowing 1. And this 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 4. Can I do it? Yep. That is 5. And 6 minus 2 is 4. Wow. 4,590. Number 4, you don't have zeros, but you still may have to borrow. Look at the next one. I'm going to let you do that one by yourself. And then on the bottom 2, you're adding. So make sure you don't get your signs mixed up. Pay attention and switch gears in your brain from subtracting to adding. Okay? Press pause, finish up number 4. And now I want you to look at number 5. Write the answer at the top of the mountain. Oh man, can you do all of that? Let's see if we can do that. 7, we're going to start at the bottom and we're going to go in order and we're going to just follow those operations. Here we go. 7 plus 3 equals what? 10. 10 minus 4 equals what? 6. 6 plus 2 equals what? 8. 8 times 2 equals what? 16. 16 minus 10 equals what? We made it to the top of the mountain. 6. Did you get it right? Okay, that was kind of tricky. That was a lot of steps, all right? But the only way to climb a mountain is one step at a time, and that's the same way that you do the math, okay? So we're not going to do the back of that page, so you can flip-flop it over and you can exit out because we're not going to do it. But I do want you to look at page 285. You go to your second math sheet, page 285. On page 285, this is going to be a good review for your test. So we're going to work through this together. I may let you do some of it on your own, but the trickier stuff, I'll go through it with you. Number 1, it says the park ranger gave out 10 park maps per hour on Friday morning. How many maps did he give away in 4 hours? Okay. So let's go back in our story and let's find our important information. The park ranger gave out 10 park maps per hour. Let's circle 10. On Friday morning, how many maps did he give out in 4 hours? So you have 4 hours, and how many were in each group that he handed out? 10. So we have 4 groups of 10, and how much is 4 groups of 10? 40. So he gave out 40 what? We have to label our answer. 40 maps. Very good. You have to put maps. Number 2. Mark the circle under the correct one. You're looking at numbers in expanded form. So if we have 531. 531. Whoops. 531. So what does 500 look like if we break it apart by hundreds, by tens, and by ones? That's what we're doing here. So look at 531. How many hundreds do we have? We have 500. Plus, how many tens do we have? We have 3, and how much is 3 tens? 30. And how many ones do we have? We just have 1. So you should have bubbled in the second one, 500 plus 30 plus 1. Look at the next one because it's really tricky. This time you're doing it backwards. They gave you the expanded form and you're putting it together to make a number. So let's look. 2,000 plus 70 plus 5. Okay, so what number is that? So let's start. 2,000 plus 70. Well, I have thousands. Do I have any hundreds? No, no hundreds. I went straight to 10. So if I don't have any hundreds, what do I have to put in its place? I have to put a 0. 2,000. And then how many tens do I have? 70, or 7 tens. And how many ones? 5. So that is the same as 2,075. Okay, on the next one, number 3, you're going to have to estimate the sums. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to estimate the number, round the numbers first, and then add them. So if you have this 43 plus 17, and they want you to estimate the sum. So what you're going to do is you're going to round that number first. 43, is it closer to 40? Round down to 40 or up to 50? Well, it's going to round down to 40. So I'm going to write a little 40 on top. And then look at 17. Round down to 10 or up to 20? Well, that 7 tells me I'm going to go up. So that 17 rounds to 20. So I'm going to write 20 right above it. Okay? And I know that 40 plus 20 is what, boys and girls? 60. Very good. So what you need to do is just write your round it in your mind and then write the number right above it. And then you can go back and add. Okay? If you can do it in your head, great. But sometimes we might need help and we might need to write it. So I'm going to press pause, and I want you to go ahead and finish number 3. Number 4, you have to write the missing term or the missing sign. So you have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division there. So you're going to have to figure out what it is, okay? So you're going to have to decide if it's maybe a multiplication or an addition sign goes there or a missing number. So I'm going to let you figure that out on your own. You can press pause and finish number 4. Go ahead and let's look at number 5. Number 5, you have some counting patterns. They start it for you and then you finish it. So we have the first one, 80, 82, 84. What are they counting by? They're counting by 2s. Very good. Look at the next one. 55, 60, 65. What are they counting by? That's easy. They're counting by fives. And look at the next one. 27, 30, 33. What are they counting by? Do you know? They're counting by threes. So you're going to have to count by threes. Now, we've learned how to count by threes, but we've only went as high as 36. But we know that when we count by threes, we say two numbers and then we skip. I'm sorry, we don't say two numbers. We skip, and then a number. So you're going to have to continue on that counting by three pattern to finish. All right, on page 286, on the back of that sheet, you do not have to do it. You can put a big X on it, and that's going to be all for math today on Monday. So finish those 2 pages, have a parent look over it for you, and I will check back with you. Tomorrow is actually our math test. So we're going to take math test 27 tomorrow. Okay, so finish these 2 pages for review, and I'll see you then.